Now, we're going to talk about comping today, right? So comping is the use of voicings, chords, in different types of ways.
All right, in this podcast video, I'm going to dive right into my new 3-goal proficiency system. We're going to be starting with goal number 1, how to play in a band, how to play in a group, how to accompany an instrumentalist, a vocalist, and all that jazz. My name is Brendan Lowe, creator and founder of jazzpianoschool.com. Don't forget to go to jazzpianoschool.com/Black Friday 2024 because we're going to be releasing my new 3-goal proficiency system on Black Friday, part 1, which is directly related to the live stream you're about to watch. So with that being said, let's dive right in.
All right. Check. How's everyone doing? I'm going to check a few things here because the volume has been up and down lately. All right.
That sounds pretty good, though.
How's everyone doing?
Might be a little echo right now.
Check a few things here because the volume. Might be a little echo right now. Oh. All right. Give me one sec. All right, we are back. We're doing well. We're live streaming. This is great. I love the live stream. Sound sounded good on my end. If you guys can let me know how it sounded on your end, that would be great, just to double check that. But it seemed like it was going well, so that's good. It's always a good sign when that's working out well. There is an echo because I had a bunch of windows open with the live stream going, but it should be gone now. I closed all the windows. Hey, Franco. Hey, Mike. Good to have you guys here. My name is Brendan Lowe. For anyone watching the live stream, anyone signing on, anyone new, I'm the creator and founder of Jazz Piano School. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching live, that's awesome. If you're not, no problem. We're going to be diving into comping and accompaniment. I'm going to say hi to a couple people here. Hey, Susanna. Bruce is here. That's awesome. And the purpose of these live streams, besides just the pure enjoyment and desire to educate you all, which I always have and always will, is really to promote and teach upon my 3-goal proficiency system, which is going to be released by the end of the year. And anyone who is a member will get access to that. And for anyone that is not a member, the Black Friday offer that we'll be releasing on Black Friday is coming up, and this will give you access to everything inside of Jazz Piano School, plus that new release of my 3-goal proficiency system, which I'll be explaining here in this live stream and the upcoming live streams. And so you'll definitely want to check that out. Go to jazzpianoschool.com/Black Friday 2024 to get on the list to hear all about the new 3-course system I'm releasing. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. And obviously, you'll get information about our amazing Black Friday offer as well. It's the biggest offer of the year, possibly ever, that we've released. And Black Friday is a fun. I have my Black Friday list. Does anyone else have a Black Friday list, or is it just me? I always keep a list throughout the year. I'm going to get this on Black Friday. I'm going to get this on Black Friday. I'm going to get this on Black Friday, right? Because we all know you save the most amount of money. That's literally when you save the most amount of money. It's always a fun day. It's a fun day. So Bruce, to answer your question, yeah, I repeat a lot of the same lessons over and over and over. I switch the topics, but most students need to hear me teach upon something multiple times. So what I'd like to do right now is I would like to have you all put in the chat. I'm going to ask you guys a question, and as I kind of switch things, and I'll keep talking, but I really want you to describe to me, what are the problematic areas that you have with comping or accompaniment. Now, even if you're a solo pianist, solo pianists need to comp for themselves. You have to comp for yourself. When you're playing solo piano, you need to do everything. So you need to play the melody, you need to play the bass, and you also need to comp for yourself. So just because I'm going over comping today Doesn't mean, let's say your goal is solo piano. Oh, I don't need to know how to do this stuff. That couldn't be further from the truth. You definitely need to know how to do everything that I'm going to be teaching today, and actually at a faster pace, or a more chaotic pace, I should say, because you have to go back and forth between the melody, comping, and bass playing, right? When you're playing solo piano, you have to do it all. So it's actually much more chaotic. It's a much more overwhelming process. So the better you can get at this, the easier it's going to be if you're playing solo piano. If you're comping, though, you can really focus in on one thing. If you're playing in a group, or you're accompanying a singer or an instrumentalist, you can just focus on comping, which is a lot easier, right? And so that's why it's the easiest of all three of my goals. But if you guys can put that in the chat, that would be really, really awesome. I'd love to hear your biggest obstacles. And it doesn't have around comping, voicings, like even voicings, because voicings are a majority of comping. Rhythms, right? Reading chord symbols, all these different types of things. So go ahead and put that in the chat for me. Playing off beat is difficult for me. Comping, yeah, probably drop twos. So rhythm, drop twos, voicings, right? Paul says left hand work, making chords and shell voicings that sound good. Sometimes third and seven just doesn't sound right. Okay, great. So I'm really going to give you, you can all keep writing in there any problematic areas you have with comping, right? Or voicings. I mean, this is when you have to voice something, or comp is essentially voicings, right? It's the same exact thing. Inversions. Okay, Claire says inversions. Okay, great. So again, guys, I'm going to jump to the piano here. Again, this particular lesson I'm doing is from my 3-goal proficiency system that's going to be released by the end of the year. If you get the Black Friday offer, you'll have access to that, pre-reserved access when we do release that, plus a whole bunch of other stuff inside of Jazz Piano School. And again, these lessons are to promote and teach you about the system. So I'm literally teaching you about the system that's going to be released. The reason I'm doing this is that students over the 20, 30 plus years of me teaching have really discussed and spoken, iterated the desire to do one of those three things. Play in a group, play in a band, accompany someone, play solo piano, or improv. That's really it. Every other goal really falls within one of those three categories. Now, we're going to talk about comping today, right? So comping is the use of voicings, chords in different types of ways, right? It's the use of voicings, chords, and rhythms in different types of ways. Now, there's different types of comping. So if I'm comping for myself in a band and I'm improvising, let's say that's the example, the scenario, right? I'm playing in my trio, or I have a gig tonight, and I'm playing with a band and a bass player and a drummer. I'm going to use left-hand voicings here, and I'm going to solo with my right hand. Right? So on and so forth. The voicings I'm using from my left hand are all rootless voicings, shells, and things like that. That's the purpose of my left hand comping in that scenario. A lot of times I see students spend a lot of times on certain types of voicings, like your left hand rootless voicings, doing this, things like this, even shells, right? If you're just comping in a band and you're not improvising, you don't need that. Okay, that's really only for improvising. So my point being here is that I'm going to walk you through the zones on the piano. I'm going to walk you through the exact voicings you need and should be using to accomplish the goal at hand. The goal at hand, because this is going to get you faster to your goal. It's going to give you a structured outline for you to pursue, practice, and accomplish. Very straightforward, very clear, cut, and dry, right? Very efficient. I love efficient learning. I love helping students get to their goal fast. So Zone number one, if I'm comping, and we're going to get to the tune day by day in a second. Zone number one, the easiest thing that you want to be able to do, first of all, is from a voicing standpoint, if I play a root position chord, right? Just from a basic standpoint of learning voicings, you should know your seventh chords. Everyone should know their seventh chords. Okay, I'm not going to go over that. Your inversions, right? From a comping standpoint, I really don't use that much. So I would say if you want to get to your comping goal faster and for solo piano, you don't need inversions that much. The chords you do need are going to be your rootless voicings. Now, you hear me talk about this over and over and over to you, and some of you probably on the live stream are sick of hearing me say this, right? Which is okay. But the reason that I'm saying this is because level one of my proficiency system is learning your rootless voicings inside and out. Inside and out. Right? So we have to learn our rootless voicings inside and out, because from here we can start to shift them and manipulate them to get other sounds, flat nines, extensions, right? Sus chords, and all sorts of goodies. From there we can get into two-hand voicings with our rootless voicings, drop twos, inner voicing movement. It sounded like the Christmas, right? But anyway, the rootless voicings, if you don't have them mastered, that's really step one. That's level one of my proficiency system. All the exercises, all the practice exercises that I would do for you and with you that are recorded are in essentially the proficiency system I'll be releasing, but we have to learn these as well as we can. Circle of force, if I take my minors, right? One exercise there. If I go up and down my C major scale, I'm going fast for you all. I know this. I'm just trying to go through this because I really want to teach you first. I really want to teach you about how to use these, not how to practice them. These are all rootless voicings. Right? So C minor, B flat minor, A flat minor, G flat minor, E, D, C minor, C dominant, D dominant, E dominant, F sharp, A flat, B flat, C. Back down, other version, right? Here's my other inversion. I can talk and do this and not even think about it. That's where you want to get to, okay? That's really what your first goal is. Now, you don't need your left hand to be able to play rootless voicings until you get into zone 3 and zone 4. Zone 3 and zone 4. Your left hand only needs to be able to play rootless voicings if you're improvising. If you're improvising, then my left hand plays the rootless voicing. So already by that math, if you cut your left hand out in the beginning, you can reach your goal twice as fast. You've already 2x the time that you can get to your comping goal because your right hand really only needs to be able to play your rootless voicings. Now, obviously, for everyone, should that your left hand learn them eventually? Yeah, of course, of course. So here's how we use our rootless voicings. Okay? Paul said, just watching that opened up a door. I like that your left hand sometimes play a different number of notes, even one in a while. Yeah, exactly, Paul. That's great. Noel, great for being here. Claire, Susanna, awesome. If you guys have questions about anything, please. I love the interaction. I love questions. I love just watching you guys chat and speaking with you. So please don't be afraid to write in the chat anything. So when I use my rootless voicings, zone 1 is down nice and low. This is middle C for y'all. I just want you to know this. This is middle C right here. Here's C3, here's C2, and here's C1. C1 meaning the first C on the piano, second C on the piano, third C on the piano, middle C, C4, right? The myth that circulates like a virus throughout student jazz piano communities is that you should not play roots with your left hand, with your rootless voicings in your right hand. You should not be playing roots because this is going to interfere with the bass player. This could be farther from the truth. That is a myth, okay? And I'll tell you why. If I play a C minor 7 rootless voicing, check out the voicing I'm playing in my right hand. This is a C minor rootless voicing. If the bass player plays an E flat, and I'm playing this voicing here, that automatically turns this voicing into an E flat major 7 chord, right? So already, if I'm not helping the bass player control the sound of the harmony by adding roots, the notes that they're going to play are going to completely change the sound of my voicing. That's why it's great for me to add my roots in, because it solidifies the sound of the chord that I'm playing. Another reason that it's good to play the roots is because the bass player is walking bass. They're rarely even staying on the root the entire time. They're walking up to the third, they're playing the fifth, the seven, walking down, walking all around, playing outside the key, playing half steps, whole steps. So we want to help the harmony, we want to help the vocalist, the instrumentalist, everyone. Our goal is to help support the harmony. And by doing that and adding roots in, this helps everyone, the whole band, hear the harmony much, much better because we're playing those roots, okay? So everyone on here, please know that playing your roots is a really good thing. It contributes to the sound. So zone 1 down here is literally your first goal, which is level 2 in the system. Okay, you should be able to comp through different chords down here in this low end using your rootless voicing, like walking in the park, like just taking a stroll. Now, zone 1 specifically is the low end of the piano. The range here for zone 1 is going to be right hand is right around middle C. Now, there's overlaps in zones, so I can go up here. Right about this F and G is where I can switch to zone 2, and I'll talk about zone 2 soon. I could switch to zone 2, but I can still stay in zone 1, so there's some overlap. We're getting pretty high to use this voicing structure still, right? So at this point, around this A flat or A, I definitely want to switch to my zone 2 setup, okay? I don't want to just be using really roots and voicings here, and rootless voicings. I definitely want 1 and 7 or 1 and 10 in this upper register, and that's where zone 2 is. I'll get to that in a second. But for everyone watching, everyone listening on the live stream, what is zone 1? What voicings do we use in zone 1? Okay, I want to ask you. I want you to think about it. I'm just going to give you a little break there. Zone 1. Okay, you should be answering in your head, or you can type it in the chat. Zone 1 is going to be the low end of the piano, right? Where our left hand has bass notes or roots. You can play octaves too. Our right hand has a rootless voicing or just shells. Shells is great too down here. Creates beautiful, beautiful harmonies. That would be a basic voicing to start out with, and then you can progress to your rootless voicings. Right? And from here, if you know your rootless voicings really well, you can start to progress to even fancier voicings. Right? Flat 9, sharp 11, 13. Okay? So if you're an advanced player out there, you can progress even further to some more fancy version of zone 1, where again, my left hand still has my root, my right hand has a rootless voicing. Right? Add in more notes, completely up to you. If you're an even more advanced player, you can add in some reharms. Thicker voicings, reharms. But the purpose here and the goal and the key and the point is I'm still within zone 1, meaning zone 1 is a register on the piano where my right hand's doing something very specific and my left hand is doing something very specific. My right hand's playing a rootless voicing, my left hand's playing roots, octaves, or maybe even fifths sometimes if I want a nice thick sound, like a modal sound or something like that, right? Does everyone understand what zone 1 is? I want you to type yes in the chat if you understand what zone 1 is. Go ahead and type yes in the chat. The next thing I want you to type in the chat for me is, do you use zone 1 to comp in your solo piano playing, or if you're playing in bands right now or groups, do you use zone 1 to comp right now or accompany other people? Okay? To answer that question, say, yes, I use zone 1, or no, I don't use zone 1. Go ahead while you guys are answering that question. The reason I see a lot of yeses, okay? You guys understand what zone 1 is? Rootless 3 or 7, root and left hand. Yes, great. Bruce got it. Awesome. You guys got it. Okay? And then do you use zone 1 in either your solo piano playing or if you're playing in a band, right? Yes, but usually comp higher. Dunya says yes. That's awesome. That's great. Zone 1 for me, Franco. Fantastic. Great. That's awesome. These are actually, you guys are defying the laws, the averages here, because a lot of students, anytime I see students comp, maybe it's because you guys have been following me for a while. So that's good. Anytime I see students comps, it's usually always up here in zone 3, right? They're always trying to use upper structure triads, like higher end voicings, right? Which is totally cool. That's fine. But the issue with this is that this particular register in zone sits right over top of the melody every single time. And instruments who are soloing, vocalists who are soloing, and even if you're playing solo piano, this area right here is all for the melody, right? Now, I'm not saying you can't use it, but I'm just saying it's like students, even I did, we always go to this register first, when in actuality, you should be starting down here to support the melody and be underneath the melody. Right? So that's why level 1 and level 2 of my 3-goal proficiency system starts you down here to support the melody, learn your rootless voicings really well, and have you comp through a tune in this particular manner. Okay? So it seems like you guys use this. When playing solo piano, I would jump down to zone 1 to comp for myself. So if I'm playing Just Friends, I'm going to jump down to zone 1 and comp. Right? Autumn Leaves, zone 1 comping. Zone 1. Right? I'm doing my comping down here because it's below the melody. That's the goal of zone 1. Now, zone 2. Okay, actually, before I go to zone 2, let's check out the chart for a sec. I don't know how clear this chart's going to be on the on the live stream for y'all, just due to bandwidth and internet and all the, actually speaking of internet, I have to take my internet off my phone, so that's okay. So hopefully it's decently clear, but if that's okay, it doesn't really matter. Honestly, I'm going to walk you guys through the chords anyway. So we have this tune Day by Day. Okay, beautiful tune. So the melody is up here. Day by day, I'm falling more in love with you. Shouldn't sing, right? So during this melody, zone 1 comping for these chords would be A minor 7, D7, A minor 7, D7, G major 7, C7, B minor 7, E7. So I just did the first 8 bars for you. Guys, this is really, really easy to understand, right? So it doesn't take a rocket science to understand what this is. What is difficult is for you to discipline yourself. Now, discipline means doing something you don't want to do or you can't do at the current moment and forcing yourself to get better at that one thing without getting scatterbrain, right? Or not doing it. So we need to discipline ourselves to learn the chords as best we can. That's the only major problem, is practicing our rootless voicings enough so that we don't have to think about them to play this tune, or any tune for that matter, right? So if I comp here, I'm just going to comp whole notes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So on and so forth. That's so easy, right? It's so easy to do. Now, if we use some rhythms there, sorry, one sec. If we use some rhythms there, the popular rhythms you're going to want to use are combinations of downbeats and upbeats. Downbeats and upbeats. Okay? Combinations of those. So downbeat to an upbeat or an upbeat to a downbeat. So 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So here's that rhythm with the rootless voicings down in zone 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 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 3. 1 and 2 and 3. Super easy, right? Now, clearly, we can't comp the same rhythm throughout the entirety of the tune, so we got to switch it up. So maybe we do the and of 1 and the downbeat of 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. So here's what that sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, it's a repetitive rhythm, so that's going to get boring real quick, right? That's going to get pretty mundane. So that's why we need to switch up our rhythm. So now we can kind of go back and forth between those rhythms, between the downbeats and upbeats. So I'll switch it up now, and sometimes I'll just play a downbeat, one downbeat, or one upbeat. And I'm also going to switch up the duration of the comps, because even within those short demonstrations I gave, so 1 and 2 and, I have 2 other variables I can use, long and short. So I can make both comps long. I can make both comps short. I can make the first one long and the second one short. I can make the first one short and the second one long. So between just downbeats and upbeats, between long and short, we have lots and lots of variables without needing or trying, or like not even I would recommend trying to make anything much more complicated than that. So I'm going to do a variation of all of those. Here's what it might sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? That's exactly what comping should sound like right there, okay? I was keeping it basic for the moment. I'm just teaching you zone 1. So all I was doing right there was comping within zone 1. Now, the full comping sound I know you're after and that you would use in a band or in solo piano is going to take on all 4 zones, because we want to keep switching it up. But that's, even if you start out like that as a beginner, to accomplish that and be able to do that is literally level 2 of my proficiency system. So to test out of level 2, you have to demonstrate your ability to just do that one level, okay? And do it really, really well. I would say to get a passing grade, if you open up to a new tune in the real book, okay, and I put the metronome on 120. 120 is always the passing grade tempo. 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, okay? You need to be able to go through the chart, comp in zone 1 for me, right? And then be able to hit about 85 to 90% of the chords without hesitation, without losing beats, staying in zone 1 and using that principle. How many people here think they could test out of the level 2 proficiency? Type yes or no. I'm just curious, okay? Bruce says comp in zone 1 under melody, also spread voicings. That's probably for solo piano. Yes, Bruce. Yep. Go ahead and answer my question. I will continue to move on here. So that's going to be zone 1. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory, right? So let's move into zone 2. I'm going to go back to a different camera here. Now, zone 1, Mike says probably not. Okay, great. I mean, good to know this stuff. This is exactly what the release of these courses is for. It's not to, and again, the purpose of this is not for mastery. Proficiency is not for mastery. It's to give you a guide to let you know where you're at. Like, are you able to do this? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, move on. Are you proficient at this? Yes. Okay, great. You tested out of this. You can move on to the next step. And it's not mastery. Those are huge, huge differences, right? I'm not asking you to master something. I'm just asking you to be proficient at these basic tools that I promise you will lead into all the other materials and courses in JPS that will just layer on top of everything you've learned, that you've tested out of proficiency, to give you the best solid foundation, for making the most amount of progress and getting to the level that you can be, okay? So I got 2 yeses, a probably not. Dunya said no. So yeah, it's something to work on, because that's level 1. Right? So that's level 1. Being able to do that really is level 1. So level 2 is going to be the addition of one note, and we're going to move up the piano a little bit more into mid to low register, right? So now, instead of being down here in this nice low end of the piano here, right around middle C, my right hand's actually coming up above middle C a little bit more. So as you can see, here's middle C. So I'm playing this G minor 7 rootless voicing. I have one note below middle C, and I have all three notes above middle C. Okay, and I can move up further. And like I said, zone 1 and zone 2 do have about a fourth overlap. So as I come down here into my F or E minor, even E flat, right? This chord right here could be zone 1 or zone 2, meaning if I want to play a zone 2 chord, I'm adding the 7. Here is a zone 2 chord. Here's a zone 1 chord. Zone 2, zone 1. Zone 2 with the 7 in my left hand. Zone 1 without the 7 in my left hand. Zone 2 with the 7 in my left hand. Zone 1 with the root in my left hand. Zone 2, zone 1, right? So the zones that you're in dictate the voicing that you're using, the voicing structure. Not the notes or the extensions, just the voicing structure, right? So if I'm in zone 2, I'm adding 2 notes. My left hand has 2 notes now in zone 2 for comping purposes. Now you would think just the addition of 1 note really wouldn't make that much of a difference, right? I thought that when I was younger too. Oh, how wrong I was, right? So the 7th allows us to do many, many things, which I'm going to get into in just 1 second. But for now, I'm going to keep it pretty simple. My right hand has a rootless voicing. My left hand has 1 and 7 or 1 and 3, right? So as I move through a 2-5-1 in the key of F, this would be a zone 2 voicing. 1 and 7, 1 and 3, 1 and 7, right? Or 1 and 7, 1 and 3, a tenth apart, 1 and 7. I'll do that one more time. 1 and 7, 1 and 10, 1 and 7. My right hand does not change from zone 1 to zone 2. I'm still playing rootless voicings here, right? So if you can't do your rootless voicings in zone 1, guess what, everyone? You're not going to be able to play zone 2 either, right? And for that matter, as you move up into zone 3, it's also based off of rootless voicings. So if you don't know your rootless voicings from zone 1, you can't do zone 1. Zone 2, excuse me. You can't do zone 3, right? You might be able to do zone 4 because your rootless voicings are in your left hand. Probably not. So needless to say, to get to level 2, right, you have to really know your rootless voicings, right? I just keep saying it over and over again because I really want you guys to get up the levels, get up the ranks, right? Climb the ladder to be able to play really excellent. So here is zone 2. If I were to go back to day by day here and I comp through day by day, with zone 2, check it out. I'm up here. I'm a little bit higher, right? My right hand thumb is on the middle C. My left hand has A and G. Those are the 1 and 7 of my A minor 7. So I'm going to voice lead to my D7. I can do that 1 of 2 ways. I can go to 1 and 3 here, or I can go to 1 and 10. If you can't reach tenths, that's completely okay. You can go 1 and. You can jump 1 and, like that, right? So I can voice lead. I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Sorry, I screwed up my right hand the first time. 1, 2, 3, 4 into my G major. Right, so I'll do it in time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whole notes. Whole 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Here's the G major. 2, C7. 2, 3, 4. B minor. 2, 3, 4. E7. So my left hand in zone 2 always has 2 notes now. It always has 2 notes, right? Now, all the 1 and 3s I was using in my left hand, they could be played as 1 and 10s. It creates a thicker, different type of resonance, which I personally love. It takes a little bit more dexterity, but it's very, very easily achievable if you work at it a little bit, okay? I would do this. I also like the little bass note difference in rhythm. I'm going one and, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So I used all tenths. Again, jazz is all about balance. Jazz is all about balance. If you don't want to use all tenths, you don't want to use all thirds. So you want to mix it up. You don't want to use all short rhythms. You don't want to use all long rhythms. You got to mix it up, right? So this is zone 2. This is how I would comp over day by day in zone 2. So here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's all zone 2 there, right? Hey, Beverly. Hey, good to have you here. So that's all zone 2 with 2 notes in my left hand now, right? So now we're on to zone 2, okay? So again, we're getting into levels like 3 is zone 2 actually. The zone number and the level don't correspond because zone 1 is actually just practicing your rootless voicings. And this is in my new system. If you guys are a new member watching this live stream, check out, go to jazzpianoschool.com/Black Friday 2024 to gain more information on the new system I'll be releasing and the amazing Black Friday offer that is coming. If you're a member, you'll have access to all of these courses, releases coming up very, very shortly around Black Friday, and then definitely before New Year's. We haven't landed quite on a deadline or like a specific date yet, just due to editing and processing of the materials and things like that. But we are working towards this. So if you do get the Black Friday offer, you will have access to this very, very shortly. Hey, Alan, good to have you here. Bruce says, so the idea is to fill space between left hand and right hand if your rootless is above A, below C3. Right hand is fill space between your left and right if your rootless is above. Yes, right, Bruce, right. So you want to fill the space. So as you get up here, if you have a rootless voicing here and a left hand is on A and I'm playing an A minor 7 rootless voicing, I'm going to fill the balance of harmony really with just one note, the 1 and 7 or the 1 and 3, right? That's the structure that's going to be here in zone 2. Okay, now I'm going to do something fun for you all. Actually, let me ask you guys this question before I get into it. But how many of you think you could comp in zone 2 effectively? Zone 2 effectively, voice leading through your rootless voicings, voice leading through chords, right? So you see, as I get to my G major 7, I'm going to go 1 and 7 to 1 and 3, but now I have to go 1 and 3 to 1 and 3 again because here from C7 to B minor 7, I'm just going down by a half step. So that would be voice leading there. That's my best choice for voice leading. My right hand could jump up, but I definitely want to voice lead my third here down into a third. Third, I could go third like that, but it's nice to just go B flat A, right? That's really the best option there. Or a 10th into my 10th, into my 7. All right, you guys see that? So how many of you could comp effectively in zone 2? Just go ahead and say yeah. Bruce says, think I could pretty much. Okay. So guys, the test, if you say pretty much, there is a test, right, in the proficiency courses. So the test is very similar to the test 1, but your passing grade, again, has to be about a 90%. So that means hitting accurately, no hesitations, no mistakes, working through lead sheets you've never seen before, right? So again, I am trying to break students out of the mindset that you might think you have something, but you actually don't, or vice versa. You might be spending so much time on something when you have it already and you can move on to something else. So I'm really trying to break students out of the mind frame of saying, oh, I think I have it, or I probably could. That's the exact purpose of these proficiency tests, is to really let you know, take the test. If you think you could do it, or I pretty much got it, right? Take the test and find out, because the test will ultimately say yes or no. You can move on, you can't move on. Right? Very clear cut and dry. Franco says troubles with sharps and diminished. Okay, glad I'm said that, but there's light at the end of the tunnel now. Just start playing. Good. Yes, with the flat chords and regular. Right. I could do it, but not at 120. Okay, great. So all of you are listing very, very substantial, understandable issues. This is great, Brendan. It's starting to clear up for me. I realize I probably need to work on preschool zone using 3-note voicing chords to get into the rhythmic swing. Yes. And Paul, for you, even I would work on your rootless voicings first, which are 4-note voicings, right? 2 shells and 2 other notes. Because from here, we can actually create 3-note voicings out of our rootless voicings. It's actually easier to take away than to add on. So if you start with your rootless voicings here, you can turn these into 3-note voicings. I'm going to show you these in zone 3 in just a second. But you can actually make 3-note voicings out of your rootless voicings, which is a little bit easier than adding on another note to 3-note voicings. Just a little hack there. So a lot of you listed different types of things. Well, I couldn't do it at 120. That's okay, right? So then you just build up, Dunya. You build up from 70, 80, 90. 1, 2, 3, 4. Zone 1. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, right? You just build up your tempo from there, okay? Definitely don't try to get ahead of yourself. The flat chords, like I'm not talking about minor 7 flat 5s at all, guys. Right? But as long as you have your structure down, then you can really work, again, through the proficiency courses and the other materials in Jazz Piano School because you have the framework down. That's the most important thing. Because if you want to add more voicings into the system that I'm showing you, that's an easy thing to do. You just learn the voicings. You know the system. So you know if you're down here in zone 1 with an A minor 7 flat 5, I'm just going to use my right hand and play my voicing. If I'm up here, I'm going to play my right hand with 1 and 7 to 1 and 3, right? And if I'm up here, I might do a drop 2. And if I'm up in zone 4, I'm going to use right hand octaves. My left hand plays rootless voicings now, right? So it's very easy. Don't worry. All right, here's the things you shouldn't worry about. Down, when you're first starting out, don't worry about sharps and flats. So when reading through a chart, let's pull the chart down real quick for you guys. Don't worry about any of the extensions shown. Luckily on this chart, there's not too many extensions shown, but this should be just baby steps, right? So like, don't worry about your minor 7 flat 5s yet. Don't worry about your minor majors over the E minor major. Love the bond chord. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about your minor 7 flat 5s. Don't worry about extensions. Like sometimes you'll see on extensions like F7 and sharp 11. Like this is not the time to try to work those in. It's just not the time, right? As you get better and you get more nuanced, then once you learn the structures of the zones and how to comp, and this goes for solo piano and improv as well. There's a time and place for everything, right? When you first learn how to drive a car, you don't want to try to drive a stick shift if you've never driven a stick shift on the highway, right? There's a time and a place for everything. I mean, that's essentially what trying to do extensions right off the bat is like, okay? All right, so let's move on here. So we got zone 2 down. Just to recap, zone 2 now, our left hand has 1 and 7 or 1 and 10 or 1 and 3, okay? Now, zone 3, I didn't think I was going to go over zone 3, but I'll give you a little teaser into zone 3 and zone 4. I don't remember what levels these are in my system, to be honest with you, but they are the higher levels, right? Because we're getting into more advanced techniques. Probably level 4, 5, and 6, I believe, are going to be zone 3 and zone 4 for your comping and accompaniment. Zone 3 is going to be, well, I'm so sorry. Let me go back to zone 2. I'm talking about drop 2s right now. So a drop 2 technically is when speaking, a definition of a drop 2 is when you take the second voice from the top of a voicing. Here's the top of our voicing, right? The top, by definition, is the highest note in your voicing. We're going to take the second highest note in the voicing, and we're going to drop it down an octave. So I've removed it from my right hand, and now it's down here, right? So this is a G minor rootless voicing, okay? So I'm in zone 2 now, so what am I going to do? Susanna said, are the proficiency tests supposed to be taken in order from 1 up, or can they be done randomly? They should be taken in order because everything is sequentially built off of the lower levels. It's like building a building, right? So you don't want to have faulty floors in your building. You want a solid foundation. You want a solid level 1, solid level 2, solid level 3. You want to build your building straight up, right? And if you can't do level 2, then trying to do level 5, 6, and 7 and add those onto your building, it's going to make the building fall down, right? That's exactly what the purpose of the proficiency tests are for. So zone 2, we have 1 and 7. I'm going to create a drop 2 out of this voicing. Now, like I just said, we need to take our second voicing from the top, drop it down to our left hand. Now, do you see what is happening here? I want you to show you. Here's my rootless voicing. I'm in zone 2. See what happens when I lift my third finger? I'm creating a drop 2 out of my zone 2 structure. Here's my zone 2 structure. If I want to make this a drop 2 zone 2 voicing, all I got to do is take up my right hand, third finger, lift it up and not play that note. Because the reason is, check out, my left hand is playing that note already. This is a system you will not find anywhere else. I have created this. I have developed it. I should patent it. This is the Brendan Lowe Jazz Piano School system of teaching, comping, and voicings. Okay? So I'm lifting my third finger. This is giving you a drop 2 automatically because you started by playing your rootless voicings here, right? So if I play a C7 with 1 and 3 here, if I lift up my third finger, I'm playing a drop 2 already. Okay, like that. And then F major 7. I'll lift my third finger up, drop 2, boom. So 2, 5, 1, and F, drop 2, drop 2, drop 2. Now these are drop 2s. These are drop 2s. These are drop 2 voicings with roots. Drop 2 voicings with roots. Drop 2 voicings can have roots or they can have 0 roots. With a root, without root. Yes, repetition creates impression. I know I'm repeating myself. With roots, without roots. With root, without root. Drop 2 with root, drop 2 without root. Okay? So here in zone 2, I always want to be using my roots, right? Because that's what zone 2 is for. And I can make all drop 2s out of my voicing just by leaving my third finger up. Right? I'm just leaving my third finger up. I'm not playing that note. Beautiful, beautiful voicings in zone 2, right? And if I add different extensions in, I'm playing all natural extensions that are built from the standard template of my rootless voicings, meaning natural 9, natural 13, natural 9s, all naturals. But if, let's say, I start to flat some of the extensions, like I'll flat the 9, I'll flat the 13, or I'll flat the 13 and leave the 9 natural, right? Here's what that's going to sound like with drop 2s. G minor, C7 drop 2 with a flat 9. F major 7. Okay, again. C7, flat 9, flat 13, drop 2, F major 7, drop 2, right? We are getting into advanced voicings now because all we're doing is manipulating the structure. We're tweaking the structure now slowly with extensions, but the foundation has stayed the same, right? We're just tweaking a couple small things here and there because you know the foundation so well. You practice your zone 2, right? So you're like really, really good. Now you can just lift up your third finger, create some drop 2s, and change your extension. Change the 9 here, right, to a flat 9. You can change it to a sharp 9 if you want. G minor, sharp 9, G minor, sharp 9, flat 13. Tweaking a couple notes, right? It makes learning jazz so easy, right? Practicing is the hard part. Discipline's the hard part. Learning is the easy part. At least I'm trying to make the learning easy for you because a lot of times students still don't understand things and then they try to practice stuff they don't understand. At least you understand this and then you can practice it and you just have to discipline yourself to practice it enough to where you get good at it. That's the hardest part, right? But at least you can be thankful that you understand the concept. Now you just got to sit down at the piano for an hour every day, right? You got to force yourself to do that. So, Susanna, good question. Right now, they're scattered in a lot of different places. And that's exactly why I built the proficiency foundational courses based on the 3 goals, because I wanted to put the most fundamental voicings, the most fundamental systems regarding comping, solo piano, and improv all in one place. With tests, it's essentially your quick start guide. Right? Now, when you go through these things, you're going to be getting the best of the best. From there, you can branch out into other courses, other areas of Jazz Piano School to learn even more about that kind of stuff. But for members who are currently on here, you can go to Two-Hand Voicing Building System is a great mini course, Susanna. You can also type in Two-Hand Voicings into the search bar. There's a lot in the main course curriculum. There's also a lot in my a specialty course on the vocal accompaniment mastery. Like, they're all over the place, right? And that's why these 3 courses that we're releasing, that I'm building, are going to be so great, because you're going to have all of it condensed into one spot. And it's going to really expedite everyone's learning process fast through the most important materials to make you sound the best in the shortest amount of time. That's exactly what the purpose of these for. All right, I got 11 minutes here. Bruce says, if you have 1 3 flat 7 on a C chord in left hand, how is drop 2 if you still play flat 7 with your right hand voicing you used? If you have 1 3 flat 7 on a C chord in left hand, how is drop 2 if you still play the flat 7 with the right hand? I'm sorry, Bruce. I'm not sure if I understand, but if you have 1 3 7, my drop 2 is here. The drop 2 would be the E natural, right? 1 3 7. Your drop 2 is this E natural, so I'm going to remove my 3rd finger. That makes it a drop 2 because your E natural is here. This is the 2nd voice from the top. So this E natural, if I do that, it's dropped down here essentially automatically, right? So that's a drop 2 right there. That's also a drop 2. Without drop 2, with drop 2. Without drop 2, with drop 2, right? Hopefully that answers your question. All right, let's go back to the tune. I'm going to talk about zone 3 and zone 4 real quick. I'm not going to go into it because I want to pull up iRoll Pro here and demonstrate so you guys can listen. Actually, let me do that real quick for you. So you are aware of drop 2s now. And zone 3 is all drop 2s. It's mainly all drop 2s. The other area for zone 3 will be shells and upper structure triads. So if I'm playing like a G7 chord, I'd have this. So there's really 2 types of voicings in zone 3. Complete pure drop 2s without the root, or a left-hand shell-based voicing with an upper structure triad in my right hand. An upper structure triad is just a triad that creates extensions, right? So I have shells in my left hand, A major triad in my right hand. That's one type of voicing. The other type of voicing, like I just said, in the zone 3, which is high above C now, we're getting up into like these areas here, is going to be purely drop 2. So if I play an A minor 7, rootless voicing, I'm going to take the 2nd voicing from the top, I'm going to drop it down here, C, right? And I've created a purely drop 2 without the root. Okay? So I have a pure, I see your question, Bruce. I'll get to that in just a second. I have a purely drop 2 voicing now without the root. So A minor 7, drop 2. Now these are going to be the most difficult, right? You really got to practice with the root first. That'll make it easier. So here's all drop 2 with roots. Roots. This allows you to see the chord structure a little bit better because I can see that, okay, this is an A minor 7. Going to D7, I can see the D on the bottom. I can see the bass note on the bottom. This is very helpful for my eyes, right? And then into my G major 7. Now, all I want to do is take out the root, and this will create a drop 2. I'm going to take out my root now. Drop 2, drop 2, drop 2. These take a lot of practice, right? This is what everyone's after, is this high-end drop 2 sound. Again, above C4, above middle C, right? Different stuff like this. Okay, that's what zone 3 is for. Zone 4 is going to be left hand rootless voicings or shells with more or less right hand octaves or 1/5 octave, right? or 3-note voicings like Paul said before. Paul, this is an area where I would use like a 3-note voicing. Sometimes a full rootless voicing, it's a little too thick, right? So I'll use a 3-note voicing. I just get rid of my 3rd finger here, and I put an octave here. So there's a D7 3-note rootless voicing with an octave in my right hand. Here's G7 flat 13, and I have the flat 9 in my right hand. Shells, flat 13, shells, flat 13, G7, right? Octave, C major, A7, flat 13. Here's my flat 13. Here's my natural 13. It's got that real trio cocktail sound that you hear on albums. You hear Red Garland playing in the zone 3 a lot, comping in zone 3. Right? But a lot of time they're combining zones, and that's actually where the best comping is found. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually get rid of the chart, and I'm going to pull up, oops, if I can. I'm going to pull up iRoll Pro. Hopefully you guys can hear this. Otherwise, I'll do it without. And I'm going to comp through the tune day by day. And I'm going to combine zones. Hopefully this works because it's a little rough on the processor with all the applications going and the streaming. But we will check this out. So, okay, here's day by day. Let me know if you guys can just hear this, okay? Can you guys hear that? It doesn't look like it actually it's coming through, unfortunately. Oh, you can? You can hear that. Okay, great. Is it clear? That's good. Good to know. Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to comp through day by day here. I'll take, that was 90 BPM. So I'll keep it at 90 BPM. And I'm going to comp through this, and I'm going to combine the zones. So you're going to hear me combine zone 1. You're going to hear me combine zone 2. You're going to hear me combine zone 3 and zone 4, right? So again, the comping and accompaniment proficiency goal number 1 course is just all on comping. It's really all on all of this. All 4 zones are used in solo piano. All 4 zones are used in solo piano. So if you are an aspiring solo pianist, jazz solo pianist, and you want to get good at solo piano, working on your comping is a really good thing to do because, like I said, when I play tunes like Autumn Leaves, I'm using my zones here with my comping strategies to fill. Your fills in solo piano will come from your zones, okay? And if you're an aspiring improvisationalist, you want to improvise, right? Your left-hand rootless voicings are going to be a huge component to improv, right? So you'll need to know your left-hand rootless voicings and shells, obviously, very well. But here is day by day. I'm going to comp very slowly. In the beginning, I will yell out what zones I'm playing in, and then at the end, I'll stop telling you and see if you guys can recognize the zones that I'm playing in just purely by sound or watching or listening. Now, the chart is over the piano on the live stream, so you can't see all of it, but just use your ears, right, and listen. So here we go. I'll start in zone 1. Zone 2. Sorry, I wasn't calling them out. Zone 2, Zone 1, Zone 1. Zone 2, Zone 2, Zone 1, Zone 1, Zone 4, Zone 1, Zone 4, Zone 3, Zone 1, Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 2, Zone 1, Zone 4, Zone 3. Oh, it stopped. Sorry, I only had it on one repeat, but I was moving back and forth, okay? So let me do that again. I'm going to up the speed a little bit. I'm going to go to 120 and see if you can just listen now and pick out the different zones. I'm trying not to use too many altered or like fancy extension voicings. I'm also not using any reharms or any fills. I'm really keeping it nice, fundamentally simple, okay? Here we go. This is all you need if you're playing in a group. They would love it if a pianist did this. So at the end there, I got a little fancy. I threw in some reharms, but essentially, I kept it basic for the most part up front, right? And then I started to throw in some tritones, some reharms, some altered voicings, right? And clearly you heard the sound of the comping start to escalate with a couple of new rhythms. But as a beginner, playing in a group or even comping for yourself, you really don't need that. And the great thing about it is at the basic level, once you know the structure of the zones, you can always add more tools to the structure, meaning you can start to work on different voicings. The new voicings you learn, the minor 7 flat 5 chords, the sharp 11 chords, the flat 13s, they just plop right in to the different zones. There's nothing new you have to learn except the voicing. It's like once you know the sentence structure and you know how to put sentences together in a different language, you just need to learn more nouns. You just need to learn like more words for things in life because you just plop the nouns into the sentence and you can use them. It's the same here. You learn fancier voicings, some altered voicings, some thicker voicings. You plop them into the structure and boom, everything becomes so much easier. Bruce says, in zone 4, what octave notes do you use? Roots and fifths? Yes, Bruce, that's a great question. I'm really kind of improvising a lot in my right hand with octaves on different octaves that come from the scale or like that might sound good with the chord. You can use roots. You can use fives. I like using 11s over my minor 7. So this is my A minor 7 rootless voicing here, and I have my 11. You can think of this as the 11 or like kind of the root of the 5, right? So if I'm on an A minor 7, I'm playing to D7. And then I might have gone to the root on the G major 7, right? I did a little line. I can stay on the root here to the 5 of my C7. So you're really kind of choosing notes within the chord, outside the chord, maybe in the chord scale, sometimes in your right hand that voice lead through the harmonies you're playing in the tune. Okay? So, all right, guys, hopefully that was helpful. Again, if you are not a member, go to jazzpianoschool.com/Black Friday 2024. Get all the information about these new courses coming up. If you are a member, keep watching the live streams. The next live stream will be on practicing. We're going to practice the comping. Be at your piano so you can actually practice some comping with me. I'm going to pull up iRow Pro again like that. We're going to do some trading. We'll practice our comping. Until then, you can start to work on your rootless voicings a little bit. Work on your rootless voicings so good that you can just do zone 1, even if you're just working your right hand rootless voicings, right? We'll do more practice with our rootless voicings, but again, all these proficiency exercises and things like that come from the course. If you want to get access to that, you'll want to get the Black Friday offer if you're not a member. Again, jazzpianoschool.com/Black Friday 2024. I've had a busy day. Guys, by the way, I'm playing at Folsom Prison tomorrow with the church I direct music for. And you can follow me on Instagram now. I've gone to the dark side. No, I should say that because I liked Instagram before. I just never had a desire to do it really. And so essentially you can follow me at Brendan Lowe Music. Brendan Lowe Music is my Instagram handle. I'll be at lots of gigs, very busy outside of JPS. And so again, I'll be playing at Folsom Prison tomorrow where Johnny Cash played, and that would be really, really fun. I have a gig tonight, which I'll be posting. I'll be doing some live streams there. So again, at Brendan Lowe Music. Does this work, the chat here? No, I have to sign in. Oh yeah, it did work. Okay, great. So there's my Instagram handle. You guys can follow me there. And if you are in the Sacramento area or the Bay Area, you can come to my gigs. BrendanLoweMusic.com will be my email address. I'll be releasing some albums. Highly recommend you get on my email list. And if you do want to come see me play, introduce yourself to me. That'd be really, really awesome. But check that out. It's a new thing I'm doing. This new thing called Instagram, right? No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, all right. I'll see you guys on the next live stream. And this will be posted in the podcast area. So if you guys want to rewatch this, you can do that. Until we post it, you can go to youtube.com/Jazz Piano School and watch the replay of the live stream as well. Okay? See you guys. Thanks so much for being here. I'll talk to you soon.
Well, if you enjoyed that video lesson, definitely go ahead and subscribe to the Jazz Piano School YouTube channel because we release a new lesson video just like the one you saw every single week. And we have other content educational series called Tips, Tricks, and Transcriptions that we release every single week as well. And don't forget to go to jazzpianoschool.com to check out all of the other amazing free education available there. And if you're looking to take some next steps on your jazz piano journey, we do have a membership available, many, many courses, and even live teaching programs that allow you to work with myself and my staff of Jazz Piano School educators. My name is Brendan Lowe, creator and founder of Jazz Piano School. Thank you so much for watching, and happy practicing.